Hi everybody. What is up, people? Welcome back to the channel. Oh, you lost your ball. You lost your ball. Welcome back to the channel. It is the first day of this vlog series, after the intro of course. So today we are going to be going through a push session. So one of the big focus points for these next few years, I guess, is to bring up my chest and my delts, which have been lagging body parts. You can definitely see it in my physique too. So I'm going to go through the full session in today's video. But at the moment we are just out on a family walk. We both have a number of steps to do today. How many steps do you have to do per day?
I think about, I don't know, 50 to 70,000.
Here she is. Emma is X amount of weeks out. X amount of weeks out. We don't know how many, but she is definitely, she's looking the part for sure. But yeah, Emma is balls deep into prep. I'm excited to see what type of shows that she is doing this year. Not that I don't know, but nobody else does. It's a secret, but it's Emma's first season as an untested athlete. She is going to be competing in wellness, and yeah, considering she crossed over from figure naturally, you know, she's gonna put it up to the best of them for sure. So, you know, big things coming, as the young kids would say. Spin. But yeah, we're just out doing some steps now. So I have about 10,000 to do on a training day. Spin again. I have about 10,000 to do on a training day. However, with the weather being as nice as it is over here and having the dog, I've been pretty much doing 15 to 16,000 a day pretty easily. You know, that's 2 walks per day, as well as any other pottering around that I do. Had my first check-in with AJ today as well, and you know, he's happy enough. Gave me some tips that I could use for my push session today, because I filmed it for him last week. And yeah, new Lotus today as well, 97.9, so that's nearly 3 kilos down since I sent over my application to him. So 100.9 or 101 was my heaviest body weight, and 97.9, and we should continue to see that go down throughout the week, because you know, the first week or so of doing a diet phase, you should realistically have a decent drop in body weight. And it's not because you're losing a chunk of fat, it's more so because when you bring food down, food volume goes down, muscle glycogen is also going to start to lower, inter-body water stores are going to lower as a result. Apologies, this little dude is pulling out fuck. So as all of those stuff start to decrease, your body weight should go down. And this is irrespective of fat loss. So the first 1 to 2 weeks on a deficit, I don't pay all that much attention to them when I'm working with clients, for example, just because of these initial changes that you're making to the diet and to food volume and to body water. But then after that, every kind of change you should see should be related to fat loss actually occurring and seeing some body fat drop. So yeah, I definitely do feel leaner. I definitely feel like my waist has come in already. I'll throw up my latest progress pictures on the screen, and yeah, it's pretty much going to be fun times from here. All right, so we're back from our walk, and this is meal one, part one. So I still like to have my breakfast in two parts. So bacon, 2 eggs, 100 grams of egg whites. We got tomatoes and mushrooms. So pretty much what I would have anyway when I'm gaining, except I took away the bagel, and obviously there's no cream cheese. So pretty simple swap made to the diet. Again, probably going to go through everything I eat today as well, just so you have a good idea as to where we're starting off this diet on, and essentially how I've made the simple changes to get this fat loss off to a good start. And here we have breakfast part two. So swapped out the Weetabix for oats with some pistachio, some raspberries, and some dark chocolate. So previously I was having Weetabix with just honey and peanut butter. I also, the way I cook these is I put in 100 mils of almond milk, 100 mils of low fat milk, put it in the microwave for like 3.5 minutes, and then put it in the fridge to cool. So it's kind of like more like a pudding now when I eat it. In addition to this, like the calories are relatively equivalent to the actual Weetabix. However, the actual amount of fats I'm using is lower, or the amount of like nuts I'm using is lower. So I was using like 15 to 20 grams of peanut butter previously. I was using about 30 grams of honey as well, the previous one, as well as added in the berries, right? So the reason I have actually chosen this as opposed to just continue with the Weetabix is it takes me longer to eat, and that's why I also was having scrambled eggs here versus the fried eggs, which has happened previously. So a kind of trick to kind of make you feel as if you're eating more, even though you're on lower calories, is just to increase the volume or change the cooking method so the time it takes you to eat the meal takes longer. As a result, that can have a very beneficial impact in regards to managing hunger and just feeling as if you're eating more food, or as if there hasn't really been a calorie change. But yeah, overall the calories are about 300 to 400 calories lower than my usual breakfast. So I'm already kind of making up some good ground with just one adjustment to the breakfast meal. Alright, so we're in the gym now. I have cable crunches up first, which you just saw. So you can see there when I was actually doing the cable crunches, I had my feet planted against essentially the structure of the actual cable. And this is essentially just to give me a little bit more stability, versus what you see a lot of people do is they'll turn in facing the stack, and then they're crouching on the ground, and then all of a sudden the weight is starting to pull them forward. And when you're in this position, to what I was doing, you're able to also get a lot of extension in through the spine, so a lot of like arching through the spine. And what's happening here is the abs are lengthening, okay? And that's what you want to happen when you're training abs. You want the abs to lengthen. If you are doing the version where the cable is pulling you forward and you are essentially just on your hunkers, a lot of people just end up doing like the short range of motion. They're just essentially doing like the crunch part, but they're not getting the stretch into the abs. So if you want to have more developed abs, ensure when you are training them that you're getting those abs into a lengthened state. The exact same way you do with your quads, hamstrings, any muscle group, you're trying to get them into a kind of full range of motion so that you can get the most benefit. But anyway, we're on to this bad boy. We're on to some standing calf raises of calves and abs 3 times per week. So that's a nice step up in volume from what I was doing, which I was doing previously no abs. I've quite developed abs, so I've never felt the need to train them, but obviously AJ thinks I could probably do it a little bit more kind of sculpting, so that's what we have going on in the program. So gonna get into the calves here. We have a rest pause, and then it's pretty much into the upper body work for today's push lesson. So one thing I never really used to have to deal with when I was doing powerlifting training was waiting on equipment, because walking into most gyms these days, and like nobody really goes to the squat racks, nobody uses barbells. It's pretty much all machines, and like that was like very nice, because I never really had to like wait on equipment. I could just go and do my thing. Whereas now, obviously, with like the bodybuilding training and how many machines I'm doing within a single session, waiting is inevitable. It is a little bit of a pain that I do have to wait, but such is life. You can't always have it your way. If I was in pure muscle and fitness right now, like I'd have to pick it a lot, right? I had so much at my disposal then. I'd like to go back to pure muscle and fitness and like be doing like an off season there, because like the array of equipment that they had was just like incredible. But anyway, next up is going to be a Smith machine incline press, and then I have to stay in the Smith machine after for a narrow grip press. So you'll see I just did my first two upper exercises there. I had a machine lateral raise. So the machine lateral raise, which I'm doing 2 lateral raises in today's session. Machine lateral raise is going to be a lot harder at the top end of range of motion. The circular cam on that particular Watson machine means that the resistance profile is just going to get hard at the very, very top, versus if you have something like a cam that's like shaped, like you may see on the likes of a Prime machine or on a Cybex machine or a Atlantis machine. The way it is shaped can essentially change where within the rep the exercise is hardest. But if you see a circular cam on, which is like the kind of the circular shaped thing that's beside the axis of any machine, so think about where your knee goes on a leg extension, and where the actual kind of cord or cable goes around, or the belt goes around, depending on the shape of that, that's going to dictate what type of where within the rep the range of motion is going to be the hardest. So yeah, on that machine lateral raise, again, it's hardest at the top, and then after that into dumbbell flat press. So I haven't done dumbbell flat press in a long time, so it's going to be interesting to see how that goes, especially considering I'm going to be dieting, but I'm up anyway in weight from the previous week, so we're already winning. Anyway, better get this Smith machine before it gets stolen. Alright, scrap that. There is a longer queue than anticipated on the Smith machine, so I'm just going to do this incline press. I think I'm going to have to change around the time that I do this session, because it's probably a little bit too busy to be using the Smith machine for 2 exercises. In the afternoon it's quite quiet because it's a lot hotter then, but to be honest, I usually train a little bit better with a little bit more food in me anyway. Alright, let's go. All right, we're back from the gym, and this is the only thing I really have for post-workout. So it is 40 grams of whey isolate, 300 mils of almond milk. There is raspberries in there, blueberries in there, pineapple in there, banana in there. So just getting in a lot of fruit in this meal, as well as some whey. So some carbohydrates, some protein, some good post-workout recovery. Now I am going to have a lot more carbs in my next two meals, but I just like to have this after training because it goes down easily, you know, especially with it being warmer here. It's hard to get in like a big meal after the gym, so I'll just have this and then keep a little bit more of my carbs for the next two meals. So because I only train once per day, getting in like, you know, a ton of carbohydrates in the post-workout meal, it's not like absolute necessity that I get in a huge load of them. It can help if you are training twice per day. The fact that I'm going to have about 24 hours between this and my next training session, if I still have my carbohydrates just later and space out a little bit more evenly, I'm still going to be able to kind of recover or replenish enough of the muscle glycogen that would have been lost from that training session. So I don't get too kind of bogged down or too stressed out about it. Now, if my calories and carbohydrates are lower, I definitely will be probably prioritizing the carbohydrates around the post-workout meal just to optimize recovery. But because my carbohydrates at the moment on training days are about 400 grams, I just like spread them out evenly across the day. Something I've always done in the diet, never really had any kind of negative impact, so I'm not going to kind of change things up now. You know, trust what works and what has worked, and you know, you could be pretty damn confident that you're going to get the result that you want. All right, so we have post-workout meal over, and now pretty much the rest of my day is going to be spent here in front of my laptop. So if you don't know, my full-time job is an online coach. So I coach strength athletes, I coach bodybuilders, I coach people who just want to improve their physique and just get stronger in the gym. I work with a pretty wide range of like people in terms of their experience level. I work with people who are competing at the national level in terms of powerlifting, all the way to people who are just looking to do their first competition or not even interested in ever competing, just want to like hit a 1RM on squats. So that's essentially what I'm gonna start doing now. Is I've got a lot of check-ins to do. So yesterday in Spain, the power went out in the entire country, so that meant that I didn't get as many of my Monday check-ins done. So I've got pretty much my Monday check-ins to do and my Tuesday check-ins to do. So it's gonna be a lot of me just sitting down here and chatting to my laptop. So essentially the way I run my communication with clients is we use a number of different tools. So I have some people who have like a spreadsheet and they fill that out with all their information, and then when doing check-in, I review that check-in or the spreadsheet, whether that's training, nutrition through the likes of my FitnessPal or Chronometer, as well as you know, any kind of bits and bobs they've like mentioned in the actual kind of check-in tab, which is on their spreadsheet. So a review of objective data, subjective data. So objective data being like their calories, their macros, their steps, what their body weight is, you know, what the numbers in training are, and then subjective data being like, you know, what the context of their week has been like, or how they felt about their week, because that part is really important too. So we've got some people who use spreadsheets. I have a lot of clients using an app called My Strength Book. So the app kind of solves a lot of issues that people find when using spreadsheets. Like a lot of people, when they're using spreadsheets, it's awkward to use on their phone. It's just awkward to use in general, unless you're on a laptop. So the app solves that problem for a lot of people. So the app I use is called My Strength Book. Really good app. Like now that I've been using it for a number of months now. Every single client who's been on it has been enjoying it. Does have some like issues or bugs in regards to, it does sync up to like your phone, so you can sync up to the step counter in your phone. You can sync up to MyFitnessPal, so you don't have to like cross transfer information. But quite often it will like disconnect. But you know, that's just a teething issue, and it's an easy fix realistically. But now in regards to how I'm going to go about this check-in, the number of check-ins I have to do. So I'm going to review all the data. I'm going to review, like, you know, this client here. I'm going to go over to his check-in sheet. I'm going to review all his training videos that he has for this week. I'm going to review his nutrition. And then from there, I'm going to record a screencast of me just like going through everything. I'll send that over to him. And then we'll have a back and forth in the actual WhatsApp. So WhatsApp is the other means of communication that we have. It's just so that like if people have questions outside the check-ins, they have videos that they want to send outside check-ins, they can do so. So, you know, I provide a pretty comprehensive coaching service if you do want to sign up as a client. So all that sounds good to you, you can definitely sign up through one of the links in the bio. But that's essentially how I spend pretty much 3 days of my week. So I only do check-ins Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It just keeps me, you know, quite organized in regards to specific tasks I'm going to do throughout the week. And then Thursday, Friday, and then weekends I kind of spend on other things to do with the business. So yeah, look, it is 2:10 at the moment. I need to get a lot of these done. I need to get back to my people. What is it, Ben? Apologies, my screen recording software decided to shit itself when I was reviewing your videos. Meal number 3, time to go. So what we have here is, we have some broccoli, boiled with a salt cube, bit of garlic granules thrown on top and thrown into the air fryer. We have some turkey breast, and then we have some potatoes softened in the microwave, then thrown into the air fryer with some salt and pepper. And we also have a very excited puppy here, don't we? He just wants to play. Where are you gone? Yeah. Say hello. Say hello. Say hello. My hand! As you can hear as well, we have his tunes going all day. So when we're upstairs working, we try to put on some like calming music for him so he doesn't destroy the place. It doesn't stop him because he did destroy a few books today. Yeah, puppy just wants to play, but unfortunately, Mummy and Daddy have to work. So yeah, the only change I really made.
Something.
So the only change I've made to this meal from when I was gaining weight is, previously I was having the same amount of potatoes really. I'm actually having a little bit more potatoes now, but I was having a lot of rice alongside that, as well as some chili oil, as well as having steak. So I just made the change I just made the removal essentially of the rice there, just because my carbohydrates are no longer like 600 plus. So, you know, you gotta make the change somewhere. So keep potatoes in there because good source of just nutrients overall. A lot of potassium, vitamin C, good source of fiber, and they are very, very filling, as well as just delicious. So that's the main reason that I could have made that change. And yeah, it's gonna be a filling meal. This is meal number 3. I'm gonna get stuck in. All right, so that is the evening. That's the evening of check-ins done. And now it is time for evening walk. It's always easier. It's always easier going out for walks and getting the steps done when this is your climate. But yeah, so 2 walks a day keeps the body fat away. So walking and getting steps in is by far the easiest way to like modulate your energy expenditure. Just such a low-hanging fruit that I think when I actually did my prep in 2022, I actually did my prep in 2022. I did like 15 minutes of cardio a day. 15 minutes of cardio a day. 15 minutes of cardio a week. That's what was on my program. Now we did 25 because, you know, who does 15 minutes of cardio? But I pretty much just did steps, you know, and that managed to get me from 94 kilos down to 76 kilos just by essentially bringing my step count up from, I believe before I started prep was around 8,000, and at the height of prep I was doing like 15,000 per day. It's low stress, you know, it's nice, go outside, get fresh air, like it's a great way to clear your head, and you know, you don't have to do all those steps in one go. So as you can see here, I'm breaking these steps up into 2 allotments. So I get usually about 7,000 steps done in the morning time. I get about 5,000 steps done now, and the remainder of my steps essentially get done just through pottering about the house, the gym, that kind of thing. Whereas a lot of people will, you know, they'll kind of put themselves in the back foot in regards to getting steps in. They'll either try to just get them all done in the evening time, or they will, you know, not just have a strategy at all. So essentially what I generally recommend to a lot of my clients is get your steps done early in the morning, or get a good decent chunk of them done in the morning. That could be as easy as, if you're going to work, for example, if you're going to work, get off a stop of the bus earlier, get off a train stop earlier and walk. Very, very simple way to increase your steps. You're still going to be on time for work, but you will also be saving yourself time and stress later on in the evening, because you just don't know what's going to happen in the evening time. The early part of the day is when we're typically going to have like the most control over, you know, the events of the day. Another strategy is also just getting some steps done after every single meal. If you can afford to do that, like do like a 10-15 minute walk after each meal. That's 40 to 60 minutes of walking done straight out the gate, and a very, really simple way to get in easily anywhere between 6,000 to 9,000 steps. So, and then whatever else you get done throughout the day. So yeah, look, I'm gonna actually start walking now because he won't walk unless I walk. Now we are back home for the walk. It's time for our last meal of the day. We have the Pepsi Max, better than Coke Zero, especially since they changed the actual recipe. H2O. And here we have 350 grams of cooked rice. We've got peppers, we've got mushrooms, we've got garlic, we've got onions, and we have turkey breast. So have a turkey breast again, just because we are out of chicken and don't actually have any good steak in the house because of the power going out in the shops yesterday. We weren't able to get any kind of good steak, so just doubling up on the turkey breast, even though it wouldn't be my preferred source. I always find turkeys a little bit dry, but in the gaining phase I was using a lot of chicken thighs, and like chicken thighs are delicious, right, but they do have a lot more fat. So just a simple change that I've made to this meal, which I was having pretty much a similar meal when I was gaining, is just swapped out the fattier cut of meat for a leaner cut of meat. I was also having peanut butter in the previous meal, whereas I'm not having any peanut butter in this. I am having a fat source. I am having some crispy chili oil, which is absolutely banging. I'll throw up the brand I use on screen. If you don't know, get to know. But yeah, this is a second last meal. I'm gonna watch a little bit of Landman. It's actually quite good. Billy Bob Thornton have me on a bit of a kind of Western America vibe, to be honest, after watching Yellowstone. So I'm going to dig into this, then it'll be last meal of the day, and then it's pretty much the day is over. It's 20 to 9. I'm eating later than I usually would because I've had a busier day, but it is what it is. You got to get your shit done. And here we go, final meal of the day. So some Greek yogurt, dark chocolate raspberries, bit of peanut butter, and some vanilla flavor drops to make it essentially taste like a vanilla ice cream. So that is another perfect day of dieting wrapped up. 250 grams of protein, 400 grams of carbs, 60 grams of fat. Fiber is probably about the 40 gram mark. Very, very simple. And yeah, hopefully picked up some diet tips here. Maybe you're going to get some inspiration in regards to the foods that you can maybe pick to make fat loss a little bit easier, a little bit more enjoyable. Because you can see all of the meals there, you know, while I'm losing body fat, every single one of those meals I look forward to, I enjoy, are tasty, you don't need to eat shit food to lose body fat. You can make your food tasty, make your food taste good. Dieting is so much easier, you know. So learn how to cook, take the inspiration from my meals, and you know, go forth and get shredded. But anyway, I'm going to get this down. I'm going to finish off watching Landaban, and then it's time to do it all over again tomorrow. All right, we'll catch you in next week's video.